Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Today's session is all about seeing Forcepoint's SaaS-based DLP offering with a hands-on demo of how Forcepoint delivers real-time data protection to secure your sensitive data everywhere. I'm Neeraj Nayak, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Forcepoint, and I'm joined today by my colleague Aditya, the Senior Technical Marketing Engineer at Forcepoint, who will be leading the demo. Welcome, Aditya.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you. Thank you.
So before we showcase the SaaS-based DLP product, I want to set the stage with a quick question. How confident are you that you know where your sensitive data is right now and how it is being used? Because the reality is data doesn't sit in one place anymore. As you can see in this day in a life scenario, sensitive data can move across multiple channels in just a matter of minutes. A file created for legitimate work, it can be downloaded on a personal device. It can be shared through the SaaS collaboration tools. It can be processed by AI, or it can be sent over email to external entities such as partners or contractors. And this is not a corner scenario. It is the normal flow of business today. And that's exactly why today we need a new approach to data security. One designed for people working anywhere with data flowing everywhere. And this starts with discovering where your data lives, classifying the data so that you can clearly identify what is sensitive, whether that's PII or IP or trade secrets or anything else important to the business. But the truth is, visibility on its own isn't enough anymore. Seeing the problem does not stop data loss. And that is where the next steps become extremely critical, which are prioritize, remediate, and protect. Now, once you understand your data, you can make targeted decisions about which use cases you need to solve first. You can automate your remediations based on data risk or user behavior. And you can enforce real-time adaptive controls to actually prevent data loss across every channel where data moves. The risks today isn't static. It changes based on the user behavior, the intent, the destination, and also the timing. So our security controls must be continuous and adaptive, not just rule-based or static point in time. And this is exactly what Forcepoint DLP is built for. The data, it moves non-stop between the endpoints, the SaaS applications, the web, email, and now Gen AI tools. And Forcepoint protects it across all of these with a single unified DLP engine. That means one policy framework applied consistently everywhere, protecting your data at rest, in motion, and in use. And this is a big reason why customers choose Forcepoint DLP today. It helps them dramatically simplify their operations while improving their data efficacy and control. Now, another major advantage that we offer is the flexibility in how the DLP solution is deployed. Now, depending upon your environment, your regulatory needs, or even the existing investments, you can run Forcepoint DLP entirely in the cloud or entirely on-prem. It's a completely hybrid offering. For today's session, we are going to focus specifically on our SaaS-based DLP because that's where most organizations are accelerating their adoption. Now, Forcepoint DLP SaaS, it's an integral part of our Forcepoint Data Security Cloud, which is our AI-powered cloud-first data security platform that unites visibility and control of sensitive data to seamlessly deliver data security everywhere. We'll talk more about the Data Security Cloud platform, but now I'm going to hand it over to Aditya to kick off the demo. Now, Aditya, to start us off, would you like to show us the new Forcepoint Data Security Cloud platform?
Absolutely. Thank you, Neeraj. And again, hello, everyone. Really excited to be part of this call. And I must say that you have put it very beautifully, Neeraj. And one thing which caught my attention when you made the statement that once you understand your data, you can take control of it. And in a sense, that's exactly what Forcepoint Data Security Platform does, right? So I'll now spend the next couple of minutes walking you through the Forcepoint Data Security Cloud. All right. So right now I'm at the login page, and let me quickly log into the Forcepoint Data Security Cloud. So Forcepoint Data Security Cloud introduces a next generation of unified solutions designed to secure data everywhere it resides and moves without impacting business productivity. Now, it's built on modern control plane, and it brings together data discovery, classification, risk detection, and enforcement across both cloud and on-prem environments, right? Pretty interesting, right? Like now, with that in place, let me sort of walk you through the various modules of Forcepoint Data Security Cloud. So, as I'm logged into the Forcepoint Data Security Cloud, on the left menu, you can see the unified platform that brings together data discovery, DLP, enforcement capabilities into a single interface. Now, the next important thing is dashboard, right? So let me spend like a couple of minutes walking you through the dashboard and the value it brings onto the table. Now, dashboard is something the security practitioners using Forcepoint Data Security Cloud truly appreciate because the value it brings in their day-to-day operation, right? The dashboard, what you're seeing right now, let me sort of refine it. Right. So the dashboard, what you're seeing right now, it surfaces only the most relevant insights, helping you avoid being overwhelmed by excessive alerts and enabling you to focus on what truly matters to you, right? Now, here you can see the top DLP policies being triggered, along with the multiple channels where the data movement is happening. So, like, that's the USP of the dashboard, right? This provides clear visibility into how sensitive data movement is happening across your environment, across multiple channels, all on single pane of glass.
Thanks, Aditya. Yeah, this looks really exciting. So what this means is instead of fragmented tools that offer disconnected visibility and control, organizations they can take the benefit of a single platform with deeper integration across various capabilities, such as DSPM, DLP, SWIG, etc. Uh, but can you tell us how integrated is DLP with other Forcepoint products such as SWIG and CASB? And how can a user enforce a single policy to prevent possible data exfiltration across the multiple channels such as web, your SaaS, or your endpoint devices?
Sure. So let me show you something our customers often find valuable, and you call it out a DLP policy, the central engine, right? So let me quickly walk you through that. So here I'm navigating to the policy wizard, and over here you can see a USPII policy. Let me expand it and let me sort of drill down and walk you through the various cogs of this policy, right? So I'm going to click on edit. The very first thing which you can see over here, we've got like over 1,500 classifiers which you could use to make your policy more impactful, more fine-tuned. You've got these various classifiers which you can use as per your business use case, right? And moving one step ahead, a single DLP policy could be applied across all these data channels. So you could apply this policy to endpoint, to email, web, CASB, all through one single pane of glass, right? I mean, so you don't have to log into multiple solutions to sort of tweak the policy, configure the policy. With Forcepoint Data Security Cloud, you could use just one single pane of glass and apply policies across multiple channels.
Thanks, Aditya. Now, I want to take this one step further because this is where Forcepoint truly stands apart. Uh, One of the biggest value adds of Forcepoint DLP is risk adaptive protection. While traditional DLP treats every policy violation in the same manner, risk adaptive protection makes policy enforcement more adaptive. It allows us to continuously evaluate the user behavior, the context, the intent, and it can automatically adapt enforcement with the dynamic user risk score. So you can monitor a user when his risk is low. You can start coaching the users when the risk increases. And you can block all risky actions when the user becomes a high risk user. This not only allows organizations to move away from the standard allow all, block all approach, but they can also dramatically reduce the false positives and protect data without slowing down user productivity. Now, Aditya, would you like to show us how this DLP works in real life? So we spoke about the day in a life scenario where the user can exfiltrate data, possibly through every channel. Uh, so how exactly can DLP act upon it? How exactly can it prevent the user from stealing the data through the different channels?
Sure, sure. So, yeah, so I've got like four very, very interesting use cases which I'd be demonstrating over next couple of minutes. And these use cases uh, basically, simulate a insider risk scenario, like how employee within an organization is trying to exfiltrate confidential information out of the organization, right? To simulate that, we have got a user called James. And let me first quickly introduce you to our employee, probably not so happy, James, right? At the moment, his risk adaptive score, aka RAP, is 10, quite low. So James is happy, he's doing his work, but for reasons best known to him, he has decided to exfiltrate confidential information out of the company. Very, very classical insider risk scenario, right? So let me just quickly walk you through how James would try to, move confidential information out of the organization. Right. I'm going to quickly log into my login. Okay. All right. Welcome to James' workstation. Um, so, so James has got access to a lot of confidential information, a lot of files containing sensitive data, PII data, and James has decided to move some of the highly confidential file to a USB drive connected to his workstation, which he can put back in his bag and take back to home. So one of such file is US client records, and this file contains a lot of sensitive information. So James would now try to move this file to his USB drive. Let's see what happens. So I'm gonna copy this to USB flash drive. And very interesting, Forcepoint intercepted the file transfer. Forcepoint understood the file contains sensitive content and immediately restricted the file movement, immediately restricted the file copy action to the USB drive, right? But
Is this the same US PII policy that you showed us a few minutes back, which was configured for all the different channels?
That's correct. That's the same US PII policy. Yeah, and now James is he'll not give up so easily, right? He has got other ways to exfiltrate data. So possibly what James could try, since the pick and drop did not work, he will try the command line way of copying the same file. So as I said, James is a so now he'll try copying the file using PowerShell. So let me try. All right, so here we go. And there we go. So the DLP engine understands that file transfer through command line. The file contains the sensitive data, and again, the transfer was intercepted. It was understood the file contains a lot of sensitive data, and the file transfer was blocked. Now, with these two actions, I'm going to quickly go back to our Forcepoint Data Security Cloud to see what's the current status of his risk adaptive protection score. And here we go. It has gone up to number 19. So there's a increment of 9 points. So that signals that James is sort of doing certain activities which he shouldn't be doing. And That's how the RAP score got elevated. Right. Now,
So clearly these indicators of behavior, they are caught up by our RAP, and RAP is actually increasing the score of the user, the risk score of the user.
absolutely, absolutely. So the Forcepoint DLP monitors James' activities like a hawk, and any abnormal activity gets captured, and as a result, the RAP gets elevated. Right. Each and every activity of James would be monitored. Yeah. All right. So yeah. So now the next thing is, so we tried file transfer to USB drive. We tried copying the file through command line. Now, as I said, James will not give up so easily. So now what he'll try to move the file to the network share which he has got access to. All right. So now James would try to copy the file to one of his network share, the same file containing a lot of sensitive data. Let's see what happens. So he tries to copy it to the network share. And there we go. The DLP engine is always one step ahead. It understands the file content, and it understands the what exactly the James is trying to do. And courtesy the USPI policy, which we covered like some time back, the copy action is blocked. Okay. All right, so now let's quickly cover other use cases. Now, since we tried copying through USB network share, it did not work. The James would try using GenAI application. So basically what he'd be doing, he'd be using a file which is highly convoluted, and then he'll try to extract the SSN number, the social security numbers from that file in a clear text so that he can save it or take a copy of it and save it somewhere. So let's see how that happens. All right, so in the next case, James will try to leverage GenAI application to exfiltrate the sensitive data, right? So he first will try to open one of the GenAI application, and the very first thing which we'll observe that, James would be presented with a prompt that GenAI application is not an ChatGPT, one of the GenAI application. It's not an approved GenAI application, and he should be using Microsoft Copilot. So let's click on Copilot. All right, so James clicked on the Copilot URL, and now he's redirected to company approved GenAI application. In this case, it's Microsoft Copilot. Now let's see what he does. So as I said, he plans to use a Copilot to extract US SSN from a convoluted document. So let's see, extract SSN, this file. And now he'll try to upload the file. Again, the same file which we used in the previous demonstration. It's a file containing a lot of sensitive data, mostly USPII. So let's upload it. Now, this is one of the risky step, right? So uh, basically, what happens here? Forcepoint DLP understands what James is trying to do, and what exactly will happen. The entire conversation history would be copied to a central location, would be copied to a different location. So let me just show you uh, how it looks like, right? There we go. So So this is the file which got copied. And along with the file, the Forcepoint DLP will also capture the last 15 minutes of conversation. Now, this is done so that the security teams can connect the dots and understand the user intent and can take appropriate precautionary actions in timely measure. So yeah, something which our security practitioners truly appreciate.
Yeah, I think that's a great use case, especially in today's AI-driven world. So employees, they will use AI no matter what. The real challenge is making sure they use it safely without exposing any regulated or sensitive data. And just now you saw that we allow organizations to empower their employees with various AI applications while making sure no data gets leaked from the different shadow AI tools. All right, back to you, Aditya, and let's see what other tricks James has up his sleeve.
Sure, absolutely. And you pretty much you're spot on, right? GenAI is there. It's there. I mean, employees will use it. So the more guardrails you have in your organization, the more safer you can make it for the employees, right? Now, James seems to be a little tired, so he'll try one last trick. He'll try to copy, the file containing sensitive data to his personal box account. One of the most risky step, right? So let's see what happens. All right, so now this is a critical and high risk action because data is now at the verge of leaving the organization control, right? Let's see what happens when James tries to, upload a file containing sensitive data to his personal account. Again, the same file which we have been using for, other demonstrations. So let's see. Off it goes. And there we go. Voila. Forcepoint detected that the file contains, sensitive data, and the upload was blocked then and there, safeguarding the organization's data.
It's fantastic. So one question I want to ask to you, Aditya. You showed us how the risk score of user, it changes every time a DLP policy is violated. Uh, Now, can you show us how exactly this risk adaptive protection is configured to act upon the risk score?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty interesting. So again, I'd be navigating to the policy wizard and yeah. Okay, and again, I'm going back to the same USPII policy. I'm going to click on the rule, which is USSSN. And here's where the magic happens, right? So here you have destination, the destination option where you can select the channels. And again, the same policy could be applied across all these 4 channels. And then scrolling down, you have the action tab where you sort of specify the actions you want to take when a specific number of match occur happens. And then after that, you've got risk adaptive protection. So risk adaptive protection basically defines the action which you need to take as per the risk impact. So over here, risk level is low, so audit only. For risk level medium, you can create these action plans, coaching, block, forensics, block all, and then you can create your own customized action plan as well. So it's absolutely as per your business use case, whatever suits you, whatever suits your business, you could do that. The bottom line is your action plan gets invoked as per the risk level accumulated. So over repeated steps, if an employee has accumulated critical RAP, you could sort of specify a specific action plan for that particular employee.
Uh, so what this means is instead of always blocking an action whenever there is a DLP policy violation. So maybe if the risk score is low, we can audit and monitor the user. If the risk score is medium, we can coach the user. If the risk score is high or critical, we can then block the action because now the user becomes really risky.
Absolutely. You're spot on. Absolutely. It's just not black or white. You could
Mhm.
basically tweak your action plan as per the user behavior, right?
Yeah. That's a huge value add. Uh, Now, Aditya, given that the number of times our DLP policy might have got triggered because of all the actions that James performed, the next natural question is, how does an admin investigate all these data security events? Do we provide any incident management or built-in forensics that can help teams drill into what happened, where it happened, why it happened, and everything else?
Absolutely. So Forcepoint Data Security provides rich forensic insights that help security teams move beyond basic alerting and truly understand the context behind every data security incident, right? So look at let's look at James' user journey, right? So over here, you could find out what exactly James was doing. So let's see when James was trying to save a sensitive file to a removable storage. If you expand that, you get all the minute details about James' action, the alert ID, the destination, right? The matched rule. And if you scroll down under forensics, it will take some time to load up. Yeah. Right. Under forensics, you can find out so when a policy violation occurs, the forensic tab captures detailed activity information, including the user involved, the data that was accessed or shared, the exact channel used, and the action that was attempted, right? So you could get all those minute details which you want, which you can use to sort of, do root cause analysis or use to connect the dots to understand what exactly the user was trying to do and can take necessary precautionary actions to safeguard your organization's overall data posture. You could also download the evidence, uh, the prompt which sort of triggered this forensic tab is available under download evidence, and you could download it and you could further analyze it, further understand what the user was trying to do. And again, you get all the details like the application from where the event was triggered, the ID, the path, the bus type, pretty much everything, right? What you need to deeply analyze an incident, everything is offered under forensics tab.
Thank you, Aditya. That was a very insightful demo. Uh, now that you've seen how our DLP works, how it simplifies policy enforcement, adapts to user behavior, and provides deep forensic evidence, let's zoom out and connect this to the real problems that customers are trying to solve. So when we talk to customers and analysts, one theme comes up again and again. Organizations, they don't experience data security as a point problem. They experience it as connected use cases driven by the simple fact that their data is everywhere. While some customers they start with different entry points. For example, some may start with securing their AI deployment, some with insider risk detection, and some with operationalizing their hybrid work. They all have one thing in common: they all require data visibility. They want deeper data context, and they want adaptive control over their data as the risk attributes change. And that is exactly where Forcepoint differentiates through its data security cloud platform. Uh, Everything that you have seen today, DLP enforcement, risk adaptive controls, coaching, forensics, they all run natively inside the Forcepoint Data Security Cloud platform. The Forcepoint Data Security Cloud, it's a unified platform that brings together DSPM for deeper visibility into where sensitive data lives, DLP for protection across endpoints, your web, email, SaaS, Gen AI applications, DDR and behavioral analytics to understand the intent and detect data risks and risky users in near real time. CASB, SWIG, and remote browser isolation for controlling how data moves through the browser and the cloud, and also advanced forensics for evidence and investigations. This allows us to secure data at rest, in use, in motion, through its entire life cycle from endpoints to the cloud. So let me close this webinar with this thought. Data security is no longer about controlling files. It's about guiding behavior, managing risks dynamically, and protecting data wherever the work happens. Thank you all for taking the time to join us today, and a special thanks to Aditya for an excellent demo.
Thank you, Neeraj.
Thank you. If you'd like to explore how Forcepoint can help you solve your data security challenges, please visit our website or schedule a meeting or request a customized demo. We appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.